Vidya is a VP of corporate marketing at Mulesoft. Prior to that, she led product marketing for Intuit's fastest growing SaaS business. And before that, she was a consultant at Bain and offices pretty much around the world. She has a bachelor's in industrial engineering from Northwestern and also has a dual master's from the Kellogg School and Harvard Kennedy School. So with that, I will hand it over to Vidya.
Hi, everyone. Very excited to be talking to you about talent marketing today. When I joined Mulesoft a little over a year ago, this was what I was told was the #1 priority at the company. It was not growing revenue, not growing the number of customers. It wasn't about increasing customer satisfaction, retention. Although all of those are important, this is the #1 goal. And the reason is none of those other things are possible without the right team in place. And the part that surprised me is while this is a #1 priority, we had absolutely nobody on the marketing team thinking about how we do this. And so we have a 40-person marketing team that supports our sales development organization, right? So if you think about sales development is working through all of the leads, and you have a 40-person team behind it that's generating the brand awareness and the leads so that the sales function can be successful. We have a massive talent organization of 30 people that are doing the same thing. They're taking in applicants, they're looking at leads. There's absolutely nobody on the back end of it that's increasing awareness of our talent brand and bringing them those leads so that we are hiring the best talent possible. And that discrepancy had us sit back and raise a question. Are we really staffing our #1 priority for success? If this is really a priority, why is there nobody thinking about it from a marketing standpoint? Is it just somebody's night job? Is it the CEO's night job? Is it talent acquisition's job? And traditionally, that's how it was, is that you had someone from HR or talent acquisition think about how we're going to get more leads while they're processing the leads that they have. And what you realize is that you're not doing as great of a job on either end. And when we actually thought about what it means to do talent marketing, we thought of it as it's everything that a marketer does, but it's with a different audience in mind. And so we said, let's completely blank slate this approach. And we said, it's not that different from what we're trying to do in the IT space, right? This is like ABCs of marketing for 101. Mulesoft targets the CIOs in the IT space, and here are the questions we ask. We say, who's your customer? What's your brand? What's the marketing plan to be most compelling to them? And how do you measure the effectiveness of your campaign? And then we said, why are we not doing that for talent marketing? Those are the exact same questions we should be asking ourselves, which is, who's the customer? Who are we going after? For us, the answer was our #1 area of focus is developers, product managers. Then we said, okay, what's our brand? What's our talent brand? Why would someone come to work for Mulesoft? And the answer is very different from why someone may choose Mulesoft as a vendor for their solution in IT. What's the marketing plan we're putting together to talk to developers and product managers? What's that end-to-end experience look like for them? Who's the cross-functional team behind it? Today there was nobody, right? So a year ago, we had nobody that was supporting that marketing effort. And what we actually did is we said we have a 40-person marketing team. Everyone's job should be to support our #1 priority. And this becomes an additional audience that they help serve. So it's not just the CIOs that we're targeting, but we're actually targeting this group of people that we want to have come join Mulesoft. And last but not least, this is, I think, at the backbone of what we're doing here, because it's very easy to put a lot of dollars behind brand, to run these campaigns, and feel really good about the activity field you've generated. But unless you're measuring, you're just not going to know what's effective. And so at the heart of everything we try to do, especially since this is a new program, is put something out there, measure, and then either pivot or optimize. And so I'll walk through how we spend time doing each one of these in a little bit more detail. So when we talked about who's our customer, and we actually have now someone dedicated to talent marketing on the team. So we hired Ashley Waxman on my team about 5 or 6 months ago. And when I was hiring for this role, I said, you're going to be a mini CMO, which is you're going to touch absolutely every aspect of that marketing funnel, but you're going to do it with a different audience in mind than anyone else on that marketing team. So starting with talent brand awareness, to generating campaigns, to generating assets, to creating buzz, and then generating leads, because that's what I'm going to hold you accountable to. There's a whole marketing funnel that you will own, and you will touch absolutely every single marketing channel there is in order to generate those leads, and your customer is the talent marketing team. But it started with who's the customer. And so really looking at what we had done in the past is we treated all our roles equally. We said, we're hiring, come join us. And what we realized is when you're trying to be everything to everybody, you're obviously nothing to anybody. And so it started with focus. The number one focus within talent was hiring engineers and product managers. It probably is similar for you, given the dearth and the pressure that we're finding for technical talent in the Valley right now. And what's the value proposition? This is really important because when you look at talent marketing across the country today, they all look the same. There are a bunch of happy faces, they're all working in teams, and they say, come join us, we're a really great place. And we had to get really honest about who we are as a company and who are the kinds of people we want to have come work with us. And so when we talked about our value proposition, these are the key benefits that now will start to touch every single asset that we have that's external facing. And so it's not about the free lunches, it's not about the no vacation policy. We're not competing on perks. That's not the person we want to have come join Mulesoft. When we talked about our value proposition, it was about, hey, are you excited about being at the center of all of these technology forces that are in the industry today, SaaS, mobile, IoT, APIs? Do those mean anything to you? If they don't, that's great, but if you do, if that really excites you, we want you to be at Mulesoft. Another value proposition we talk about is don't wait to be told what to do. We're looking for very self-motivated people that are driven and are looking to solve difficult problems and not stop until they solve them. And so it's really about getting that one click deeper on what your values are and what sets you apart from everybody else. Because otherwise you're just going to be in a very noisy place of we're happy, we're nice, we're collaborative. And that really doesn't mean that much. And the third, last but not least, how does it vary by segment, right? So you're going to run these campaigns for engineers. It's going to look very different than the campaigns that look for product managers or the people that you're targeting for your marketing roles. And so being very clear about those different value propositions by segment, just like you would for your corporate marketing, right? When you're looking at whoever your consumer segments are, it's being really clear and crisp on those. Even us asking those questions was a new journey for us. We've not done this for very long, but the fact that we started to outline the value props by segment told us that whatever marketing we were doing for the talent side was not sufficient. And so this really helped change the way we were approaching it. Once we answered the question about who's the customer, we started to develop our talent brand and bring it to life consistently across all the different touch points. And this was so important because 6 months ago, before I actually came in the role and we looked at all of our web properties, our website, that was one that we hosted on Mulesoft.com, or we saw our Glassdoor presence, or our presence on LinkedIn, or our Facebook page, and we had no Instagram page. We had different levels of information, we had different things that we spoke about the company, and it just creates a very confusing experience. You don't have a brand if you're not consistently giving the same message across. And so once we've answered the question of who's our customer and what's our value proposition, it was about telling that story in a very compelling way across all of our touch points. Then we created an end-to-end marketing plan. So starting all the way from the top of the funnel down to actual leads, we talked about developing the talent brand messaging. We do it by function and by department. So we went from having just one careers page to actually now having deep down levels by function and department, where we talk about, hey, what does it mean to work in our sales division versus in our engineering department? What does it mean to work in our Buenos Aires office versus our London office? Because those are the details that people care about. And we, at that point, did not have any differentiation whatsoever. We talked about bringing the brand to life across channels, career site, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Facebook, creating a presence on Instagram, on Twitter, and doing a talent brand campaign. We'd never done this in the past. I'll share some details on how we approached it. But it wasn't just about a brand campaign. We weren't talking about who Mulesoft is and what we do. It was about who Mulesoft is as an employer and why we want you to join us. Creating demand generation campaigns by geography, function, and level. So we did that working closely with LinkedIn and also creating email retargeting campaigns. So you create a set of assets, whether they're content or requirements about what you're trying to look for in an engineer. And we're trying to bring that to life in a very targeted way. So if I were to describe a from to, what we've done in the past is we ran campaigns. We said, hey, we're hiring, come join us. But now what we shifted gears to say is, this is the type of engineer we're looking for. And really running a very targeted campaign on LinkedIn with very individual assets and content specific to what it is, what it means to work as an engineer at Mulesoft, and going after target profiles based on that. Internally, we fired up our Dusty referral program, making sure that's top of mind for all of our employees. It still continues to be our #1 source of great hires, as I'm sure it may be for you too. Planning hire-a-thons, so people are in the zone and they're spending an hour and all they're doing is looking through their network and finding great people that would be a good fit for the open roles that we have available. And developing a content market strategy. So when we talk about marketing on the enterprise side, we talk about high-performing assets like white papers and webinars and case studies. And there's nothing on the talent side that we have. So how do we start creating content that brings to life what it means to work at Mulesoft for people in that target segment? So are we speaking about the technology trends we're seeing? What does it mean to be an engineer? What's a cool project that they worked on recently? Let's start creating those assets and then bring those to life either through our digital campaigns, our site, or social and PR channels. And similar to how we have meetups for developers on the enterprise side, we start to have events where we ask people within certain groups to come join us. So most recently in Buenos Aires, we had an event where we had engineers from the local university come in, and we actually went through a curriculum with them. So we actually taught them some basic skills in an area, and we found that people were interested to come join and work with us as a result of that. So there's a whole event strategy that we now plan as a part of talent. This is the brand campaign that we recently ran a couple of months ago. We took over the Caltrain station at 4th and King. And we don't have a very big budget. We have a very small design creative team of roughly 4 people. And so what we had to do is we were really scrappy about how we approached this. We used real employees for this shoot. We focused on the biggest roles that we were looking to fill in product management, sales, and engineering. And we told their story about crushing quotas and really hunting down the big deals. And what we wanted to show is these aren't actors. These are Mulesoft employees. This is what they do. And if this excites you, you should come join us. So literally, we took over the mezzanine level of our office, asked 6 of our employees to come down. We got clothes from H&M down the street. We used our own equipment and saved an incredible amount of money. Like a photo shoot like this would have cost $100,000.
I just wanted to call out, if you back up one, I think one really amazing tactic you used was creating a wireless network in the Caltrain station so that you actually showed up on everyone's phones.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
Oh, I'm glad you guys like that. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people call that out. It's a funny thing because it's not that we're offering free wireless. We literally just changed the name. And people started to notice, and a lot of people called it out. The other thing was we had a comic book that we had created 3 years ago for developers. And it described what Mulesoft did, but in a very fun way. And what we did is we took that existing asset and repurposed it. And then the last page was, hey, if you know someone who'd be great for Mulesoft, refer them and you could win $5,000. So we were being really scrappy in that don't have a budget to offer free wireless, but we'll still be up there so you know that we're hiring. We took existing assets, we repurposed them. We asked employees to be our actors. We shot them in our mezzanine level. We got costumes and props from down the street. I think the only expense is we hired someone to do hair and makeup off of TaskRabbit to come help us for the day. And so I think this was really important for us as a company to figure out how to do, because we don't have the budgets that many large companies do. And so we were really trying to have the biggest impact for as little investment as possible. And so we were able to pull this together, and the impact was tremendous. We saw a 20% increase in visits in the first week to our careers page in the Bay Area during that campaign. And we saw a 40% increase in sales development applications, a 66% increase in software engineering applications, and a 44% increase in product management applications, which were the roles that we were actively promoting in the campaign. The campaign ran for 4 weeks. Oh, during the period that the campaign ran. So during that 1 month that the campaign ran, that's when we saw the surge in applications. Sorry? Yes, so that's a good question. The Caltrain takeover is a pretty standard price. It's not that cheap. It's I think roughly $50,000 for the month. So that was the most expensive line item. My tip on that is develop really good relationships with the vendors and ask them to put you on their last-minute offer list. So when someone cancels, they may call you and just give you a really discounted rate. And if you're able to move quickly, you can still be scrappy and save a lot of money on that. Last but not least, measure. So just like we have a sales funnel, we've created a funnel here to measure the success of what's working and what's not for talent marketing. So starting all the way at the top of the funnel, how do we gauge that interest has grown? We talk about the careers page traffic, Glassdoor traffic, followers on Instagram, followers on LinkedIn. How many people are viewing our blog posts related to talent? Engagement. So the percentage of employees who refer candidates, which is our #1 source for how we hire the best quality employees. Second, the number of inbound applications, and third, outbound applications, which is when we reach out to people and say, hey, Joe, you seem like a really great fit for the role. Do they then turn around and then apply with us? Impacts. So candidate quality. So again, I was sharing this with Marcus earlier. We have no dearth of applications. We get 50,000 applications a year. That's roughly 4,000 a month. For a small company with 700 employees that's looking to add 100 employees in the next 6 months, you would say, that's plenty. What are you talking about? The issue is quality. Anyone can create noise in the market and get as many applications as possible. None of that matters if we're not measuring this, which is the percentage that actually get to final round. So from application to final round, what does that drop-off look like? Right now, it's not a number I'm proud of. I really want the quality of the candidates to go up. And second, the candidate experience. How are we creating the best-in-class interview and candidate experience for them? We measure that by survey data, by Glassdoor, but it's really important that we're not just a machine where we're bringing in great quality candidates and we get them to offer stage, but it's about creating an amazing experience that sets a tone for their experience with us in the long term. And even if it doesn't work out, we want people to walk away really respecting us as a company and saying, hey, if it didn't work out this time, that they would still consider us sometime in the future. And efficiency. So hard numbers. What was the cost per applicant? Because, right, you've spent all this money on campaigns and brand awareness at the top. How much are you spending for every applicant that you're getting in? And how much are you spending for every hire that you're getting in? And so, and what we're trying to do is measure this not only by a quarterly basis, but also year on year, because you'll find that in hiring, there's a lot of seasonality. So quarter on quarter is not very telling. No, we have 14 offices, and so there's a lot of regional hiring. So,
I'm just wondering, because we have the same issue, like how do you keep that candidate experience
yeah. It's a good question. It's one that our talent acquisition team takes more of the responsibility for, because they are just like the sales organization would take responsibility for the customer experience. The talent organization needs to do that. And they do that by being a very tightly knit team on process and experience, and all reporting into the same leader. So it's their same vision and strategy that trickles down. but it's not that easy, right? It's really hard to control, and every now and then it'll kill us. We'll see a Glassdoor review about someone in a very remote office who didn't have a great experience.
I mean, that's the frustrating thing on the marketing side. You work very closely with HR, but if it's a large organization, it's very hard.
Yeah.
And whatever you're saying in marketing may not be.
Yeah. That's exactly, I think that's right on. And one of the things that we found critical to do is for our talent marketers to work very closely with the talent team. So very often they spend half their time sitting with the talent team, they're in their staff meetings, they're working with them just as closely as they do with marketers. It's a role, Ashley's role literally straddles both organizations.
Just a quick note too for comments, if you could repeat the question.
Oh yeah,
That'd be great.
sure.
Thank you.
The question was on how we try to keep the candidate experience across the world, given the number of offices that you have, and it's hard. I want to put this up here because I wanted to, again, bring home the fact that we treat talent marketing no different from how we treat the rest of the business. There's a funnel there, and you really want to make sure that you're leveraging your talent brand to have real impact on the real numbers for the business. And so we measure this on a monthly basis to see how many prospects we got, how many got to application, right? That's the equivalent of a marketing qualified lead on the enterprise sales funnel. How many got to the assessment stage, how many got to face-to-face, how many to offer to closed and hire. And so I bring this up because if there's one thing I'll leave you with as our biggest learning is we have to treat this with the same level of rigor and discipline that we do the enterprise revenue generating side of the business. And in fact, I would say this is obviously coming back to the first slide. It's even more critical because you're not going to grow your business if you don't have the right talent in place. And that's it. That's all I had to share. Thank you, guys.